Welcome to Cape Cod Real Estate Corner. As you know, real estate is a major engine of economic prosperity on the Cape. In addition to buyers, sellers, and real estate agents, it directly involves thousands of workers and millions of dollars of economic activity. Even if it doesn't touch you at this moment, it touches many people you know, your friends, your neighbors, and people you do business with. This series of presentations will help give you a better understanding of this important business and may help you be a smarter seller or buyer if you are currently participating in the real estate market or will be entering the market in the future. Our guest is Mrs. Debbie Martin of the Mid-Cape Real Estate School in West Dennis. Debbie has been involved in real estate for 30 years on the Cape. She is a licensed broker and a past president of the Cape Cod and Islands Association of Realtors. She is co-owner with her husband, Dick Martin, and Christopher Green of ERA Cape Real Estate with offices in Dennis and Yarmouth. She is licensed by the state of Massachusetts to teach the pre-licensing course for people taking the real estate licensing written exam. She also teaches advanced courses for real estate agents to meet required continuing education goals. More importantly, Debbie Martin teaches her customers what they need to know to be smart buyers and smart sellers. Today, she's going to talk about what it's like to be a real estate agent. Welcome to Cape Cod Real Estate Corner, Mrs. Martin.
Well, thanks for having me again, Bob. I appreciate the time and your questions. I think they're very good questions. I think a lot of people have them, but they don't always ask them.
Yes, we know it's important to find a good real estate agent when we're buying or selling our property. What's it like from the other side, from the perspective of that real estate agent? And what are some of the tips for buyers and sellers when they hire a real estate agent?
Well, a lot of people describe selling real estate like sailing. There's hours of boredom interrupted by minutes of terror, and selling real estate can be a little bit like that. It's full of the unexpected. It's very tiring at times, and it's very rewarding at times, because what you're doing is finding people a house to live in. And so that's really cool. And typically, your buyer is thrilled with their purchase, and they're happy to be in whatever it is that they've purchased, and you get a sense of accomplishment and a real reward just from that. And so being a real estate agent has a lot of really good points. But it certainly isn't without its downside. There's a lot of work involved, and it's certainly a lot more work than what you see on HGTV. House Hunters is not really a realistic representation of what it's like showing houses. On Cape Cod, it's a luxury market. It's a luxury purchase. It's not typically a primary home. It's typically a secondary or retirement home. And people will look over a series of months or years in looking for a house. So you have to be dedicated to your client and put your client first and keep at it until you come up with what it is that they're interested in.
So if people are from off Cape are buying these homes and they're not local, what should they look for in a real estate agent to represent them?
That's a good question. You know, first of all, not all licensees are realtors. So when you get your real estate license, you are a licensee. You can list and sell real estate. But those of us who join an association of realtors become a realtor. And it's very important from my perspective that if you're a buyer or a seller, that you look for a realtor. Because realtors belong to an association that's over 1 million strong in this country, and we adhere to a code of ethics. And so as a consumer, that's really important, and that's something that you certainly want to have. You want a person who adheres to a code of ethics in your corner. And you want a realtor who is going to be there for you. Not all realtors do that, but those that are good do. And they help you find what you need, and they help you, if you're selling, get the most amount of money in the quickest period of time. So think of working with a realtor as working with a partner, because you have things to do as the consumer and the realtor has things to do as the real estate agent. So think of it as a partnership. And consider the unexpected. If you're a buyer, listen to what your realtor has to say. They may be hearing what you're saying that you want, and it may have a different outcome than what you think you want. I've had people who have told me they've wanted the quintessential Cape Cod cape with a white picket fence, and they ended up buying a very modern contemporary condo. So sometimes realtors will help you clarify what it is exactly that you want. That's really important. So think about what it is you want to accomplish and how you want to get there. And a realtor will help you see those properties. If you're a buyer, help you see those properties that will help you attain that goal. It's personal. Buying a property or selling a property is very personal. But remember that don't let personalities get into it. You want to work with a realtor who can help you stay objective, whether you're buying or selling. Help you be objective when you make an offer on a property and maybe the seller doesn't come back with the counter offer you were hoping for or doesn't say yes right away. Or if you're selling your property, you want a realtor who can help you remain objective when a buyer makes an offer. And maybe it's not exactly the offer you wanted to hear. So a good realtor will help you keep that objectivity and keep the buying or selling of your property in more of a business-like manner or fashion. Those are really important. But most importantly, you want to say to the realtor that you're talking up to and that you're thinking of hiring is, what is it that you're going to do for me? What are you going to bring to the table that's going to be of value to me? And a good realtor will have a whole lot of tools and services and goods that will bring things to the table that will help you attain your goal and attain it for the least amount of money in the quickest period of time, or if you're selling, for the most amount of money in the quickest period of time.
So some people try to sell their properties by themselves for sale by owner. What are the pitfalls in trying to do that? How could that be suboptimal as opposed to hiring an agent and paying a commission?
Well, you know, we call them FSBOs, for sale by owners, and certainly it's an option for people to sell their own home. The reason that I personally don't think that it's a good idea is, in today's society, there are a lot of legal avenues that you have to consider when you're a seller. And whether or not you use a realtor, you are still mandated by state law to provide certain disclosures, for instance, to provide a lead paint disclosure, things like that. Have your septic inspected. There's an entire booklet of things that you need to comply with and that you need to have some knowledge of. There's a lot to navigate. And if you're alone, navigating those waters is very difficult. If you have a realtor who's navigating those waters for you, you can sit back and enjoy the ride. So I tell those people who are trying to sell their houses on their own, be prepared. There's a lot of work involved. And again, it makes it very difficult to remain objective. And when you're showing your house to prospective buyers or they're making offers, it's very difficult to maintain that arm's length in the transaction if you're the person they're talking to and it's your house. So the FSBO has an uphill battle. Also, historically speaking, FSBOs sell for about 7% less than what non-FSBOs sell for in most every market in the U.S. It's a national figure, and so most FSBOs think that they're selling and they're going to save money when, in essence, when all is said and done, they don't. And it's cost them a lot of time and effort, which to a lot of people is money. So that's difficult.
Thank you. So sellers can do a lot of research on the internet. What's the benefit then of having sellers hiring an agent to help them with the last part of the transaction?
Well, agents will help you negotiate. Agents will help bring everything to the closing table. So they will coordinate. I look at the real estate agent as sort of the orchestra conductor. He's going to make sure that the home inspection is done and that the septic inspection is done and that all the state mandated forms are in and signed and get to where they need to be. He's going to coordinate and orchestrate getting the parties to the closing table, working with both attorneys. Typically your seller has an attorney and your buyer has an attorney. And in today's market, there are new laws that dictate financing. So for those buyers who are getting financing, it used to be that when the buyer was getting financing, that was really his problem. He just told the seller by what date he expected to have his financing so that the seller could plan on a closing date. Well, it's no longer that simple. There are new guidelines and rules and regulations that have to do with disclosures from the lender to the buyer. And to meet those disclosure times and dates, the seller now has to partner in that effort in making sure that everything that the buyer's lender needs, they get in a timely fashion. And you truly need a professional who can help you do that if you're a seller.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Martin.